What's up everyone and welcome back to Reload Reacts episode 69. My name is Trey and today we are going to look through r/Am I the Butthole, the subreddit to find out if you were in the wrong for the argument that's kept you up at night. This first post is by Late for an Appointment. Am I the butthole for refusing to change someone's baby diaper? My wife and I have been married 10 plus years and have a few kids. Sister-in-law and her husband had a baby 2 years ago. No major complaints. They just tend to ask for people to do stuff that I would think they'd do themselves. They'll come over to our house and they live an hour away, and they'll ask ahead of time if we have their kids' favourite crackers on hand. Why they don't just pack the crackers, I don't know. They are well off, money's not an issue. If one of them leaves the room, they'll ask one of us, my wife or kids, to be in charge of the baby, even if the other parent is right there just scrolling on their phone or something. But whenever I say something to my wife, she says I'm being too much. The other day we're having a dinner at mother-in-law's house when the baby had a poopy diaper. Sister-in-law looks at me and says in the sweetest voice, "Uncle, my name, can you change the diaper?" She frequently does this when we're there, but this was the first time I was asked. I answered politely, "No, I'm sorry, I don't do that." "You don't do diapers?" "No, I don't do other people's kids' diapers, if their mum or dad is around. I mean, if I'm babysitting, sure thing, but yeah, if the parents are around, I just feel like it's their job." Sister-in-law looks like she's ready to cry. Well, I feel selfish. I smiled to try and set her at ease. Not trying to make you feel any way, just telling you a boundary is all. The table got really awkward as she got up and did the diaper. Afterwards, my wife blamed me for making sister-in-law feel bad and said I could have just changed the diaper. Not trying to make anyone feel bad, but I've had 3 kids and I always took responsibility. I watched them, I packed for them, and I changed them. I'm not looking to be a secondary parent for this kid. I don't think you're the butthole for sharing boundaries, OP. I think that family is a little bit of a red flag. Let's see what the comments have to say. Not the butthole. Your sister-in-law only felt bad because the obvious was pointed out to her. You said no when she asked you, then she pressed you further, trying to either guilt you into changing the diaper or make you look bad because you didn't want to change a poopy diaper. Yeah, addressing you as uncle was supposed to put you in the responsibility spotlight. She felt guilty because you declined. The next comment says, "I think you handled that amazingly well. She sounds like she's not used to anyone saying no to her and setting boundaries. Putting on the tears and the being selfish act is manipulation, and it sounds like that worked on your wife, not you. Nothing to feel bad about. She sounds like a wannabe princess." Not the butthole. The parents were there and capable of changing the diaper. That is their responsibility. Anyone else that does it is a kind gesture. I would set the exact same boundary. Yeah, so would I. I totally get everyone saying he's not the butthole. I totally get everyone agreeing with OP, because I also agree with OP. It can be offered, but you shouldn't feel like you have to do it. It's more of a kind gesture if you want to do it, but you shouldn't have to feel bad for not doing it. It's not your job. You're not the parent. So yeah, no, not the butthole. This next post is by Flashy Magazine 9264. Am I the butthole for making my pregnant sister-in-law cry when she kept asking why I changed my name? My brother, 30M, is married to Haley, 29F, and they're expecting a baby together. Congrats. Last year I, 17F, officially changed my first name from Evelyn to Indy, which was a nickname form of my original middle name. My parents gave in after realizing how serious I was about being Indy, and how I was not warming up or growing into Evelyn. My brother and Haley want an older/vintage name for their baby, and Haley asked me about 5 months ago why I disliked Evelyn enough to change the name. At the time, she brought up how popular the name has become, and how vintage is back. I told her I didn't like vintage names, and to me, it sounded really old-fashioned. I told her the popularity didn't influence my decision. She wanted to know my reason for disliking older names and why I liked something like Indy instead. I didn't mind her asking this first time. She brought it up again a week later, and she asked the same question and pressed more for why. She asked a third and a fourth time. I gave her the same answer and asked her why she kept asking me. I told her my answer wasn't going to change. By the 7th time she asked, she admitted she was worried her baby would hate having an older name and wanted to figure out what she could do to prevent what happened with me happening to her. She also said she'd like me to rethink my name because she thought Evelyn was beautiful and she was sad I had chosen something like Indy over it. I asked her to stop so many times already, and I even asked my brother to stop her. He told me I needed to understand it was the hormones. I can easily say she has asked me this more than 25 times by now. I'm not exaggerating that number either. 2 weeks ago, when she brought it up again, she felt like I had made a mistake changing my name and how 30-year-old me wouldn't be so against Evelyn. I told her 30-year-old me can deal with that if it happens. She told me I didn't really have a good reason to like the name, and Indy seemed like the kind of name someone young likes but not someone older. Then yesterday happened and I kinda lost my temper. She started out asking the same stuff and the baby is almost ready to be born, so I know it's coming to an end, but she asked me to really think about why and help her because she couldn't figure out what she'd do differently than my parents did. Then she said they really shouldn't have let me change my name so young. I snapped and I told her to stop asking me the same question because my answer won't change and her comments are not changing my mind because I don't like old-fashioned names. I told her I think they're awful. I'm sick and tired of hearing about how much better they are and having her try to make me find a reason she finds acceptable. I told her just like she hates Indy, I hate Evelyn, and she needs to let it effing go already. She burst into tears and my brother got so mad at me. My parents were also like, why did I have to speak to her so harshly? Am I the butthole? I think if you had said that over a couple of asks, you might have been a bit of a butthole, but you've been asked this for months, and it's been the same question, and they just don't seem like they want to actually listen to you. It seems more like they want you to agree with their viewpoint. So I'd say not the butthole. Let's see what the comments have to say. If you reacted like this the very first time she asked, then you'd be a bit of an a-hole. But after months of her asking you the same thing over and over and over, your reaction is justified. I hate the you must understand it's the pregnancy hormone spiel because being pregnant doesn't give you a free pass to be a butthole. Yeah, so basically what I said as well. If someone continues to question your identity and they don't accept you for who you are, and if they ignore your explanation and request to move on, they are bullies and discriminatory. So no surprise she burst into tears and is playing the victim now because that's what entitled bullies do when they are challenged. Not the butthole, Indy. Yeah, you were kinda harassed about it, in hindsight. So yeah, definitely not the butthole, I would say. This next post is by Fantastic Swing 4853. Am I the butthole for threatening to sue both the school and the family of my daughter's bully? I 30M and my husband 33M have an 11-year-old daughter who's been going through severe bullying at school. Yay, Pride Month story. It's just keep getting worse. It started off with just name calling, but it's gotten worse over the past few weeks. Context. She's adopted, which is something we've always been open about and celebrated as part of her story. Recently, some kids found out about her adoption and saying horrible things. Telling her stuff like her birth mother didn't want her. They tell her that she's unwanted, tell her she's a reject, which is not the case. Her mother loved her very much to the point she literally gave her life so she could be here. If this wasn't bad enough, a few days ago she came home in tears with her hair butchered. They'd cut off 2 inches of her ponytail while in class, all while taunting her names and laughing at her reaction. They will follow her through the halls to make fun of her on a regular basis now. Both my husband and I have been in touch with the school about the bullying more times than I can count. I emailed, called, even showed up in person to speak with the teachers and the principal. But all I got were empty promises that they'd look into it. Nothing changed and my daughter's mental health has taken a hit. She's anxious, struggling to sleep, and now begs us not to send her to school. My first school was kind of like this. They'd always look into it and then nothing would happen. Finally, out of frustration and feeling like no one was taking this seriously, we reached out to a lawyer to explore legal action against both the school and the bully's family. Only when the school and her parents learned we were considering legal action did they start to act. Suddenly, the school calls me to say they're moving the bully out of my daughter's class and claim they had a talk with her. The girl's parents reached out too, saying they'd talked to their daughter and promised it would stop. But honestly, I don't believe them. I feel like they're all saying this just to get me to back off and avoid the legal consequences. I worry that once the dust settles, things will go right back to how they were and my daughter will still be dealing with this. My family thinks I should give the school and parents a chance now that they are finally taking action, but I feel like it's all for show. So, am I the butthole for moving forward with legal action even though the school and the bully's parents now claim they're handling it? No. Oh my god, please pursue legal action. Keep going. Do not stop. There are so many people that just give up before that. I am so glad you're pursuing legal consequences. Let's see what the comments have to say. Not the butthole. One of my classmates was a butthole to me and everyone else. I was adopted when I was in the 6th grade. My parents were waiting to tell us when we were old enough to understand. My brother wasn't quite old enough yet. For me, it was a light bulb moment. That's why there's no picture of mum pregnant. For a group of kids at school, it was a reason to bully me. I heard the same things your daughter did, and it didn't bother me. It was how relentless it was. I developed anxiety and stomach issues due to the bullying. One day a good portion of everyone in the cafeteria was laughing at me because of what one of the man bullies said. I didn't want to go to school. I got sick after lunch nearly every day and had to go home. I had all kinds of doctor's appointments to try and figure out what was wrong with me medically that was causing the stomach issues. The school even tried to say my problem was I was upset about being adopted and was making myself sick. No amount of anything my parents did helped. It only got better after the school year ended and we were all in different classes. Wow. Another comment says, yeah, sorry. Bullying with name calling is one thing. Physical abuse to a child by cutting her hair during class is completely different. Why didn't the teacher do anything? Why did the teacher allow scissors in class? Why was the bully not sent to the principal immediately? Why weren't you notified immediately? Why did your baby have to come home with effed up hair, basically a signature of abuse for you to find out about it? I'd be suing the school and that teacher directly for neglect, as well as the kid's family for abuse. Not the butthole, Dad. Protect your kid. Maybe also consider formally pulling her from school and going to your district with a letter officially stating that the school's absolutely asinine job of handling an abuse, not bullying anymore. They could have stopped it at bullying but let it grow to physical abuse. Case is the sole reason why. What happened to all that zero tolerance for bullying that we had when I was in school? Yeah, we also had the zero tolerance for bullying. It just never really got through. It was all kind of for show, and I feel like that's the case with a lot of schools. It's all publicity stunts. This next post is by Significant Fan 8104. Am I the butthole for telling my parents I didn't have a kid? They did, and they need to take care of her, not me? My parents had me, 15F, when they were 18 and 19. They always made it so obvious they resented being parents so young, and added to that, they never tried to be good parents. I typically spend most of my time at friends' houses. I don't have an extended family to rely on. They disowned my parents for having me so young, so friends' houses were a positive in my life that made me feel more confident than being at home with my parents. My parents never did the typical parent stuff like helping with homework or showing up to support me at school. I don't think they ever attended a parents' conference for me. They ignored a lot of stuff I needed to get signed, and I'd have to get right in their face on the last day to get signatures. My birthday and Christmas have never been a big deal or celebration. They do celebrate their wedding anniversary, but that's a them thing. When they told me 2 years ago they were expecting a baby, it really surprised me. But then it hurt, because sometimes they said stuff that made me feel like I didn't exist. Like how they were so excited to have a baby and how they couldn't wait to be parents. A friend of my mum's did remind her of me, but then she and Dad said I was basically the too early practice run and that this was the real deal. When my sister was born, they were so attentive to her that I ceased to exist completely. I got sick and my school was trying to call someone to pick me up, but they ignored the calls, and when I got home, they had taken the baby out for a family day. When they got home, they hadn't even realised the school called because they turned off their phones to enjoy family time. My mum quit her job a month after my sister was born. She wants to be a stay-at-home mum, and she and Dad want at least one more kid. My dad leaves work early on Fridays so he can spend more time with family, mum and sister. My parents tried to have another kid, for over a year and mum isn't pregnant yet, so they're jumping to fertility treatments. They told me I need to watch my sister for a few hours every week while they attend those appointments, and they gave me this detailed list of stuff she needs and what I'm going to do with her. I told them I won't, and that they had her, so they need to take care of her because she's not my kid. My parents told me it's a few hours a week and not a huge deal. Dad told me I need to look at it as paying back all they did for me. I said no and told them they don't give a see about me, so why would I want to help them? Am I the butthole? Whoa, you were so neglected as a child, or are currently neglected as a child. That's so sad. I'm so sorry. Let's see what the comments have to say. Not the butthole. Neglecting to pick you up when you were sick and calling your life a practice run is such a horrible thing to get from your parents, and I'm sorry they have neglected you. Yeah, I'm sure you're so used to it, OP. I'm so sorry. That must feel normal to you. Not the butthole. My parents told me it's not a huge deal. Yeah, well, neither is learning to be satisfied with the children you already have. Tell them you'll do it if they can name your favorite food, favorite color, and best friend. When they can't, tell them you'll be giving their baby exactly as much attention as they have given to you over the years. Give them that wake-up call, they clearly need it. Not the butthole. Yeah, I agree with the top 3 comments. Not the butthole. Not even close. This next post is by Extension Umpire 7129. Am I the butthole for naming my son the name I had always planned even after my brother and sister-in-law stole the name? My brother and his wife have as much right to name their child whatever they want. I do not own my name. I have no right to dictate to my brother what he names his kid. With that in mind, my husband's has a traditional family name that I love. Basically, since he and I were dating and started discussing our future, we agreed that our son would have that name. O'Sheen. My husband is Irish, not in the Boston, my great-great-great-grandfather came over in the 1800s kind of way, in the born in Galway kind of way. Neither my family or my sister-in-law have any other kind of connection to Ireland. She got pregnant right around when I did, and her son was born 2 months before ours. They named my nephew O'Sheen Miguel. I didn't get upset or anything. When my son was born, we named him O'Sheen Daniel, like I had told her we would be doing. She has flipped out that 2 cousins will have the same name. She is nuts because our family is Hispanic and half of our cousins are named Carlos or Camilla. She is trying to insist we call him by his middle name or change his name. I told her to pee off. My mum is staying neutral, but she was very surprised that my brother gave his son an Irish name he knew I was planning on using. She expected him to name him for our late father. Anyways, my husband's family thinks the whole thing is hilarious. My family thinks my sister-in-law is a weirdo, and she thinks I'm an a-hole, and she thinks I'm a butthole for copying her. Whatever, I'm posting here and sending her the link so she can see our side opinions. Yeah, I don't think you're the butthole for that. You're the one that has the link to Ireland, and your sister-in-law doesn't. I'm gonna say not the butthole, but I feel like I'm missing context. Let's see what the comments have to say. Your husband's family is right, and so is your family. She doesn't own the name, and if she is going to pretend that Moses had a 3rd tablet saying that people own names, then she's admitting that she was completely in the wrong to give her child a name she knew you wanted to use for yours. She sounds childish and petty. Not the butthole, she is. Not the butthole. You're right, anyone can use a name. That means that even after she used a name that meant nothing to her, but so much to you and your husband, it's still okay to use that name. Tell the sis she can pee off. You didn't get mad when she took the name you plan on using. My family is similar. We had 4 Johns, 2 Ricks who were cousins around the same age, and most women have some variety of the name Anne. That's kind of funny actually. But yeah, not the butthole. This next post is by No Mushroom 3470. Am I the butthole for going to the police immediately when I found out my parents took out debt in my name? Without even reading this post, I'm gonna say yes, but we'll continue. Cause that's just fraud, right? My parents took out credit cards and loans in my name. It was fine when they were paying the bills, but they got behind. I don't have a key to the mailbox, so I never saw the bills or anything. I just finished my 3rd year of university and I was going to move out. That would require me to get a credit check and stuff. My parents freaked out and forbid me from moving out. They said it was stupid that I would waste money on moving out when I could save money living at home. They don't like my boyfriend, so I thought that was their issue. But nope, I was wrong. Long story short, I am about $60,000 in debt because of them. I cannot afford to pay that off. I told them that they needed to clear the debt immediately and change the house rules so my boyfriend could spend the night. They said that they didn't have the money to pay the debt and that I could not strong arm them into changing their rules of the house. I called my auntie and asked her if she could please come stay with her for a bit. She let me and asked a lot of questions. Then she showed me a dozen Reddit posts about parents screwing up their children's future and the children allowing it. I went to the police and reported it. My parents got arrested and charged and they are furious with me. I know they didn't spend the money on me. I do not know what they did spend it on. I don't care. I feel bad for them, but I'm not letting them F up my future. Am I the butthole? That's fraud. They took out loans in your name. They're not you. That's fraud, right? Not the butthole. They shouldn't be doing that. That's really sketchy on its own, even without thinking of the implications there. That's strange. What do the comments have to say? Not the butthole. It was fine when they were paying the bills. No, it wasn't. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It is identity fraud and it is illegal. Put a freeze on your credit and monitor your reports from now on. Tell them you are furious with them as well. I would be. I wouldn't speak to them again if they did something like that. Not the butthole. Not fine at all. This is illegal and can affect you negatively. Red flag that parents freaked out and forbid you from moving out. Long story short, I am about in $60,000 debt because of them. This is exactly why taking credit cards in your name was far from fine. My parents got arrested and charged and they are furious with me. I find it insane that they're mad at you for reporting a crime when they put you $60,000 in the hole. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. You cannot do that. That is just fraud. And with that, guys, I think that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories in r/Am I the Butthole. Let me know what you'd like to listen to next in the comment section below, and also hit that subscribe button because I post new Reddit content every single day. There are 2 videos on the screen, one of which is for the most recent video, and another is for a video the YouTube algorithm thinks you'll want to watch next. My name's Trey, this was Reload Reacts, and I will see you in the next video.